Welcome to the Stories That Sparkle. I'm Hella Rader, and in today's episode, I sit down for a chat with Jaclyn, the incredibly inspiring force behind Patti's Place and Laurel Grove Wine Farm. OMG, this is an amazing conversation about regenerative farming, about clean food, about being connected to the land, to each other, to what we eat, to how we eat. I'm really inspired by what's possible when I just decide to let it begin with me, start with small, simple changes. And yeah, you just never know where that might end up. It could end up with a farm. What? Anyway, I'm really excited about today's conversation. I look forward to you hearing Jaclyn's story and her journey with making all these changes in her life, with her life, for her life, and her family. Woohoo! So yeah, I invite you to get comfortable, sit back, and listen in. I'm Hella Rader. With a good sense of humor, an open heart, and an open mind, I love to explore the very human complexities in others and in myself. That's why I created a space for women you have never heard of and could easily pass on the street to share in their own voices the intricacies of starting over in life, building community, inhabiting their bodies, and more. Welcome to our Disco Ball, the stories that sparkle.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, hi. How are you, Jaclyn?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, Hella?
I'm good. It's so nice to be here.
Thank you.
I met Jaclyn, last week or something? Like 2 weeks ago, tops?
Yeah.
I came here with a few friends for brunch. It was our first time here, at least it was certainly my first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, this place is incredible. I could felt so good here. And I'm like, I need to speak with this woman. I need to understand what is happening here. Like, how did this place come to be? So anyway, we're not in my sunroom. We're in Patti's place.
It's really nice to have you.
Thank you. So, of course, I have the obvious question. How come it's called Patti's Place, Jaclyn?
Well, Patti's Place is Patti. Patti Williams was the wife and previous owner of our farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we first purchased the farm, he actually continued to live in his house.
Oh.
And we commuted from New York for like 2.5 years while we were doing the logging and clearing the land for the vineyard. And he was like a dream come true for me. He received deliveries for me. He met contractors with me. He would go to all the meetings with me when I was here. He helped me spread manure and seed and was just such a gem that at first I was going to call it Gary's. And then he kept talking about how much Patti would love it, that he kept everything so pristine, and just how much he loved the place. And I was like, how about we call it Patti's instead of Gary's? And that clearly was the right suggestion, and that was just an easy answer. And for me, it felt like a thank you to him and a tribute to the history of the farm and a history of the place, because this is Mount Williams and they are the Williams. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's a long history legacy here that I thought the name really paid homage to.
So, okay, I'm got that cleared up. We'll back up a little bit, obviously. So I heard in there, and I actually noticed on your card, when you gave me your card and I got your number, I'm like, oh, this is a 917 number. This is a New York number. I must ask immediately because I used to have a 917 number. Alas, I do not anymore. However, so you came here from New York.
I did.
Wow. Were you from New York, like originally, or did you move to New York?
I always grew up in the surrounding area of Manhattan. My parents worked in Manhattan. They were commuters. I spent some time on Long Island, some time in New Jersey. I went to college in Connecticut. I lived in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Like, that was my stomping ground. And then I moved back to New York I guess I moved to Manhattan for the first time when I was in my early 30s. I was just 32, and I wanted to help my father find better health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, my parents had moved back into Manhattan the day my younger sister went to college. They were like, oh, thank God you're out of the house now and we can move back into Manhattan.
Right. Empty nesters moving into Manhattan. I love it. Yeah, because having kids in the city is, that's rough. Yeah.
And when we were first growing up, Manhattan was not a very safe place. So they were not interested in that. And they live there. They love it there. My parents were very much born and bred New Yorkers. They went to school at NYU. They go to the theater. They never grew a thing. They think my inclination to be rural is very strange.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, this is where, like, I mean, I need to, because I mean, that's what I'm very curious. Like, how did that happen? Yeah. So you moved to New York to, like, be closer to your parents?
Yeah. My parents lived in Manhattan, and I wanted to be closer to them, not only to be closer to them, but also because my father was quite overweight. He ate really poorly, and I thought if I was closer, I could help him just be healthier.
Right.
And live longer.
Right.
And I did not succeed.
Right. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Wow. Yeah, I relate. It's hard to, if people don't want to change, it's very hard to, you can't, there's not much you can do.
No.
And it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was diabetic, and so for a long time he just refused to eat different or do different. And he even once said, I know that this cost me 10 years of my life. I'm like, I'm not sure how to feel about any of that. Like, I don't know. I'm mad at you for even saying it that way.
I know.
Jerk face, but I love you, but what? Yeah.
I know. Mm-hmm. My father he was very heavy. He was tall, and he was just like this big, larger-than-life character, but you could see that food, especially processed food like that, was an addiction, and I don't know. I was not able to do anything to change his habits, and he did pass away from a heart attack.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I mean, I know it's very hard to watch when someone you love is harming themselves in whatever way, and you can't stop it. It's hard. It's really hard. So then you stayed in New York even then, right, for some amount of time?
So my father passed away. I met my husband 2 weeks after he passed away in like this bizarre twist of fate. We got married 4 months later, and he asked me to move to London where he was living. And I said, no, my father just passed away. I can't leave my mom. And he moved to New York. And he's like, I always wanted to move to New York. Let's do that. And
oh my God, what a great love story.
He's great. And then I was like, let's move to a farm and leave New York. And he was like, okay, sure. I mean,
wow, he's up for things. I love this.
He is up for things. I mean, even when we got married, I was like, I don't want to visit you in London anymore. It's very expensive.
Right.
Let's get married if you're down. And he was like, totally. And I was like, sweet. I made an appointment on Monday, and he was like, yep, let's do it.
Oh my God, I love this. I need to take some notes. I'm like, this is sounding very delightful. I love this.
Very not complicated. And then he was like, I was like, can you ask me though? And he was like, really? And I was like, just let me have a story.
I just want the story where you actually asked me to do any of this.
Yeah, he didn't, which is fine. He did all the other things.
Right. You're like, all right, fine. You can not ask.
Yeah. So he moved to New York, and we kind of started life there. I had my son Asher and my daughter Charlie in New York, and I was teaching high school at the time. And then when they were born, I kind of got into being a stay-at-home mom, which I thought was extremely rewarding, and I loved doing that. But I always cared a lot about food, not only because of my journey with my father, but because I was in the restaurant industry before I was a teacher. And food is, this brings me back to how I got to Patti's, but
yes.
Food brings people together. Food in its best way is a meal with family and wine, and you're not on your cell phone, and you're connecting with the people that you're eating with, and everything is fresh and it tastes and it smells and it's family legacies and recipes and it's seasonal and it's beautiful. And the more I just thought about how much I love food in that way, and then the food that's available in the grocery store and how disconnected we are as a society to that food, I felt like I needed a shift. Mm-hmm. So this is all happening. And then in parallel, I read a Time magazine expose on habits, and I was like really into habits, right? Like my daughter's pacifier habit and milk and composting and recycling and all of these habits that, you know, we kind of obsess over in the modern day. And while I'm not sure it was the point of the periodical, but I took away from it that none of your habits actually matter, good or bad, unless they get in the way or promote your end goal. And I thought that...
Oh, wait, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they get in the way of or promote your end goal, who cares what the habit is?
Exactly. The habits don't matter. What matters is whether or not they contribute or hinder your end goal. So, of course, I was like, what is my end goal?
Right.
So then I got into that deep dive, and I was like, all right, screw the pacifier. Like, who gives a shit if I have 2 glasses of wine as opposed to 1 and, like, you know, do what I do? What's my end goal? So I sat down with Dustin, my husband, and I was like, I want my kids to take care of things. I want them to take care of animals. I want them to grow food. I want to live in a place where they can play outside. My end goal is to be more connected. And
like connected even to each other.
Connected to each other, connected to the earth, to connected to food, to land, to space. Just, you know, I love Manhattan. This is not in any way like cities are bad and farms are good. Like, I really enjoyed my time living there. I love going back. My mom still lives there. It's just, when you're existing in Manhattan with children, the children become the sun, and all of the adults in that child's world become the constellations around it, right?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is one of my problems with it. And I just didn't want my kids to be like this driving force between all the adults' movements. And that was one of the habits that I felt got in the way of that end goal, right?
Right.
So I proposed this idea of a farm to my husband, which he always knew I wanted to retire on a farm. So he was like, all right, if we're going to have a farm now as opposed to in retirement, it needs to be somewhat income producing. And I was like, I don't know how to grow shit.
Right. So, you're like, okay, no problem, but I don't know how to do any of this.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know how to do anything.
Okay, I love this.
I mean, thank God for YouTube. I will say.
I mean, for reals.
Yeah, I didn't know how to turn on a lawnmower. I had to YouTube that.
I love this. I didn't know. Oh, my God. Yes, brilliant. I mean, actually, if I had to turn one on, I'm not sure I would know either, to be honest. So.
I mean, I lived in apartments for the last, 15 years. I didn't even have a lawn.
Yeah.
So he says, well, okay, I'm down, but it's got to make money. I said, what do you want to farm? I'll learn how to do that. He says, I'm down for this adventure if we have a vineyard. And I was like, we both love wine. We got married at a winery in Brooklyn. Let's do that. So we researched where the wine producing regions in the United States were: California, Oregon, Washington, too far from my family, and the real estate's very expensive. So then it was upstate New York, which seemed really cold, and then Texas. And we looked at Texas for a while as a place to do this project, but too hot, too far from my family. And there wasn't anything wrong with Texas, just the more I started reading books. I actually bought a book called How to Grow Grapes.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, like that's where I started.
YouTube and books, that's the way to do anything.
Totally. And in this book, as much as I kept on reading about Texas, Virginia kept on popping up, and like Bordeaux blends. Virginia. Virginia is actually the number 6 wine producer in the United States. And, well, at least it was 6 years ago when I started researching this. And I was like, Dust, this is an easier place for us to get to for a weekend. Let's go check it out. And we came down here and we went to Charlottesville and we did Loudoun County, and we went to all these vineyards, and I was like, this makes a lot of sense for us. It's beautiful. The wine is good. Let's look here. And simultaneously, in the background of all of this searching for a property, I am teaching myself how to farm a vineyard.
Wow.
And from my computer, there's an online course called Vesta through the Missouri State University. And I'm taking night classes once I get my kids to bed about how to grow grapes and botany and fermenting. I actually made wine in my New York City bathtub as part of the class.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, New Yorkers do get creative. I remember that. I mean, you kind of like, my stove was at some point another closet.
Yes, of course.
I had sweaters in there.
Yeah. I know lots of people who keep shoes in there.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't really use this for cooking, so I'll just put my clothes in here. But anyway, wow, making wine in a bathtub in New York City apartment. I love it. I love it.
So, and it actually came out pretty well. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. So, as this is happening and we're doing all this ground truthing at this property, I run into a local viticulturalist who is like, why are you looking on the eastern side of the Blue Ridge? The best grapes in Virginia are grown in Shenandoah Valley. And again, that's her opinion.
Right.
But it resonated with me. So when we decided to pass on that property, I then started to look at the valley for a piece of land. So we looked at Laurel, Mount Jackson, Winchester, and we thought, okay, if we're going to have impact and we're going to sell wine, we need access to DC. And my husband still commutes to New York City, so Winchester really just felt like the best fit. And then I saw my current farm on the market, and I got in touch with the guy, and I knew how fast Winchester was growing. So I was like, we need to go down tomorrow, Dustin. And he's like, it's Saturday. What are you talking about? And I was like, no, we're going down now, and we're going to see it tomorrow.
Right.
I've already set everything up. Let's get the kids in the car.
Right.
Well,
and Winchester's a perfect also commute, really. I mean, relative, like you can go at the 80, I mean, I do a lot at the 81 to 78, and you can be like in 4.5 hours, really. 5 hours?
5 hours.
Okay, fine, 5 hours.
Unless you're like aggressive.
Unless you're Leadfoot Raider.
Well, my husband actually, he drives to Harrisburg.
Okay.
And then he takes the Amtrak.
Yeah. Oh, it's even better.
Totally.
That's so smart.
He can work on the train.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Driving is exhausting.
No, that test. And you can't do any work.
No, you cannot work while you're driving.
You can't be doing that.
But you can listen to really great podcasts.
You can. I know, like this one. No,
exactly like this one.
Okay, sorry, I got excited by the commuting. No, I mean, Winchester's a great strategic location. Yeah. So you're in New York, and you're like, we're driving right now to Winchester to see this farm.
Yeah, and I meet Gary Williams for the first time, and he tells me about the farm. I tell him my vision, and while he keeps getting offers from developers, and I was like, I am going to develop it into a vineyard, and I'm going to be a regenerative vineyard, which I'll get to in a moment.
Yeah.
But I start to explain to him how I want to farm and what I want to do, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for this man. He accepts my offer, which is less than the developer's offer, because he loves what I see to build, and I hope I do him proud, because what I said I was going to do, I have actually done, even though we're not fully there yet. We are on our way, and
Wow. So how much? So when was what year was this that you got this place?
We bought this place in 2021.
Okay. Oh wow. So this is really very recent.
Yes.
I don't think I really fully understood. I mean, okay. So you bought it in 2020. So wow. So you're also coming out of the COVID eras.
Totally. So we're coming out of COVID.
Right.
And I will say, this wasn't a COVID idea, which people ask me all the time.
I'm sure.
People are like, you had a COVID brainstorm. And I was like, we were actually doing this before COVID.
Right.
But COVID, I do think, accelerated the project.
Right. You're like, okay, no, really, let's get this going right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Backtrack just a hot minute. While I'm doing all of this learning on my computer about how to farm grapes, everything is telling me about pesticides and herbicides and my hazmat suit that I need to wear, and
What? My eyeballs just popped wide open.
Grapes are one of the most sprayed fruit they're part of the dirty dozen. It really makes you think twice about like not just the grapes you eat in the store, but also the wine that you drink. So in learning all about this, I was like, that is totally counter to what my life goal is. I really rage against that machine. And the more I've learned about pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and how they came about and how pervasive they are and the companies that promote them, I really feel like they do harm. Like the companies themselves, they do harm, and they do so for money. And I am so angry about the fact that they could do this to people and my children and myself and society. So in that rage, I was like, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to grow grapes in a different way. Patty's Place kind of came up a little bit differently, but in thinking about how grapes are grown, I started to look at alternative design. And I researched what are different ways to grow grapes, and organic came up, and then regenerative came up, and I was like, let me listen to a regenerative podcast. So I literally Google regenerative agriculture podcast, and there's a podcast called the Regenerative Agriculture Podcast, and it's hosted by a man named John Kempf, and it changed my entire understanding of the natural world. It is one of the best things I ever fell upon. I have spoken with John since then. I have gotten so much inspiration from the podcast that I've heard on that show, and that is how this became a regenerative farm. And all of the little tidbits I have taken from different episodes, whether it was a corn farmer or a apple farmer, I kind of have put those together, done deeper dives, and made a design for this farm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you bought the farm in 2021. You're still researching all the things at this point, right? And you're like, okay, I'm going to do grapes, but how do I do grapes differently without all the pesticides and just shit on it? Like disaster. And you come across the podcast. So like, how long does it take to start planting?
Well, the farm itself was a forest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we had to decide where, so the farm itself is 450 acres, and we needed to decide where exactly we wanted to plant grapes. So we took a team and we rented a backhoe, also not something I knew how to do, and had to YouTube, like, how do you turn on an excavator? But they'll rent you anything. It's amazing.
You don't know how to drive this thing, but I'll rent it to you.
Totally. Like, the guy who delivered the excavator gave me a 1-minute lesson, and I was like, sure, I'm glad that you trust me with this machine, but...
Thank you.
So then I take this excavator into the woods, and we do this ground truthing exercise with a great team of people, and we kind of decide, all right, it's going to end up being this. It's the southwestern corner of the farm. The topography was right, the aspect was right, the soils were right. We were like, this is the place. To have land cleared is like $20,000 an acre.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was like prohibitively expensive. So I was like, well, why don't we get everything harvested, and then we can get paid for it. In order to get land harvested, you have to do a minimum of 50 acres. So I was like, all right, Dust, if 50 acres is our minimum, what is our maximum? Because can we have them come back twice? It's a huge mess when you have these loggers come in. It's like, you know how they say you got to crack an egg to make an omelet? This is like throwing the eggs against the wall. It's so messy, right? So I was like, let's think about how big we want to be in the end, in order to make sure that we're only doing this one time.
Right, smart.
Yeah.
Smart, yeah.
So we end up clearing 100 acres, but because it is logging, they don't take out the stumps, which made sense to me because there's all these mycorrhizal connections in these deciduous forests, and I was like, we'll leave those connections in place.
Aww.
And we'll grind the stumps down. You don't know the things you don't know.
You're like, never mind. Oh no.
So then I find a guy, his name's Daniel, he's amazing, but he ground every stump down, and then we had to mulch over where the stumps were, and then we did years of successive cover cropping, and then I worked with NRCS in order to get a grant and design a perennial cover crop mix that is native to the area that can be grazed by sheep, because I knew sheep had to be in the system at some point.
Wow.
And
what's NRCS? Sorry.
The National Resource Conservation Service.
Got it. Okay.
And they are all about conservation and environmental conservation. And I ended up procuring a grant for these cover crops.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really did, like, you're like, not only do I want it to be native plants, but also native plants that also can have sheep grazing, because you just determined that having sheep grazing is part of the ecosystem of running this farm in this regenerative way.
Correct.
Okay. Wow.
And I just had to design a system that was totally different, and hopefully people will be able to see that I was willing to dive headfirst into the unknown and that it worked. And I get why farmers are scared. You have a mortgage, you have college payments, you have all of this stuff. I have the amazing good fortune of having a husband that has a job that can help me support this,
right,
while I spend all of our money
right,
on on this sword, because I am starting a farm, and the purpose of my farm isn't just so my kids can be connected, but I am unabashedly trying to change minds and change the world.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to
right,
do that, but
right,
I want people to, and one of the reasons that wine was particularly appealing is people talk about how wine is farmed in a way that they don't talk about how anything else is farmed. You go to a tomato farm and they taste the tomatoes and they're delicious, but nobody's like, oh, did you have sheep grazing through the tomato fields? And like, you can't really we do wine tastings here, and I tell people about how the wine and the grapes are farmed and the process with which that wine is made, and people are interested, and nobody gives a crap that I am only using diatomaceous earth
right,
on my vegetable garden.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, wine is like the one place where it's like an entry point almost
Yeah.
into some of these conversations, because
Exactly.
that's where people are curious about it, whereas they're not so curious about other food items. Interesting, yeah.
And I also thought having a vineyard outside of DC where I could talk about how I'm farming and have access to people who live in DC, I might at some point have the lucky benefit of getting an ear that has influence.
Right.
So I just want to tell my story. I want to show people my farm. I want to show them that it works. I was like, Dustin, how can we go back to, how can we go back? Like, there's no other thing. And he's like, as long as we make the best Syrah in the world, I don't care. And I was like, working on it. I'm working on it.
Okay, so tell me, when you say regenerative
Yeah.
farming,
Yeah.
what does that, like, if you can give me the layman's breakdown version of, like, what is that? How does that work? Like, I'm curious about that.
There is a ton of debate about whether they should define regenerative like they define organic, and things are regenerative certified now. And long story short, if you're regenerative, you're making the system and the ecosystems with which you are productive healthier.
Got it.
That's it. You're making your soil more alive. You are making your water infiltration better. You're doing it naturally, which is why at Patti's we only sell rotationally grazed meats.
Ah.
Because they are free from antibiotics. When people say antibiotic-free meat, it's not just a testament to the fact that they're not taking these antibiotics, and antibiotics are harmful to humans because your entire immune system is in your gut, and if you're taking antibiotics, you're killing your own microbiome. And I don't know why we don't associate antibiotics in an animal with antibiotics in our own body.
Right, right.
And if you spray an antibacterial on a pesticide is an antibacterial, right? A fungicide, antifungal. If you're putting all of these things on your food, they are going into your body and into your microbiome and killing your microbiome, which makes you less able to fight autoimmune disorders. All of these things that are expressing themselves in modern society, they were probably just as prevalent 30 years ago. It's just they weren't able to express themselves because our immune systems were stronger, because we didn't have so many antibiotics in our bodies. So having rotationally grazed, antibiotic-free meat is really important to your own health. You rotate them because no animal should live in its own feces, right?
Right.
And if you just keep sheep in one place, they live in their feces, and then you medicate them so they can live in their feces.
Right.
And that's how a lot of farming is done. I could not do that with my sheep. So I could not keep my sheep. The last 2 years have been a real test of how badly do I want this shit.
Right. I'm hearing like, you know, I'm willing to make the hard choices and the hard decisions to keep that goal of it being farmed, you know, farming this kind of way, this regenerative way, which is like, it sounds like organic plus or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like basically organic plus.
Yeah,
you know?
I describe it as beyond organic, but organic plus also works. Like, you're letting the natural systems take care of themselves, because trees know how to grow. They know how to do what they need to do. They know how to get nutrients. They know how to do all this. And there is a natural symbiosis that exists in nature that we have interrupted. Humans have disrupted this system in most of the land that we farmed. And if instead of fighting these natural systems, we lean into them and let them express themselves to our benefit, then ultimately regenerative farming is much more economical long term. I mean, nutrient amendment, NPK is expensive. Fungicides are expensive. Pesticides are expensive. All of these things cost money, but if you let nature take care of all of that for you, that's pretty cheap.
Right.
It's just transitioning is expensive and hard. Mm-hmm. But most people who transition to regenerative farming find that their bottom line is increased even if they produce less food.
Oh, interesting, because their overhead is less, or
much
just
less.
Mm-hmm. They're not
less.
spending money on X, Y, or Z things.
Exactly.
Right.
There's lots of times with organics is you can farm an organic system that looks the same as a conventional system. So you can have grapes, you space them the same way. Instead of using a regular fungicide that's made from a synthetic chemical, you're using some other synthetic organic chemical, but it doesn't, I mean, it's better. Don't get me wrong, organic is definitely better. But organic just is it's another model that's based on conventional, whereas I actually had to redesign the system, right? So if you go to a vineyard in Virginia, they usually have the fruiting wire maybe 2 feet off the ground, the fruit hangs really low, everything's spaced really tightly together. The reason they do that in France is because they have shared vineyard plots and they don't have a lot of land. And I mean, they're working with different constraints. The access to land and space is not an issue in Virginia, right? We have 450 acres. We have space, and there's only so big I want to be.
Right.
So we had the capacity to imagine a system that's different. Our grapes will be trellised 3.5 to 4 feet off the ground.
Wow.
I mean, when you lay on grass, your back gets wet, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the humidity pressure isn't just in the air, it's off of the cover crop. So you need to get the grapes off of the ground. So raise them up, right? You need to space things farther apart so you can have more wind flow in between the trunks of the trees. That also gives you space to have sheep graze during the summer months as opposed to only in the winter, which is what they do in California, because in California they don't have grass in the
Right,
summer,
right, right.
So you have to think about your place. And there's all of these models and systems, but it's actually all just a template. And then you take these templates from around the world and think about what it actually looks like in your space and your place. So right now, what's next is just getting good at what we're doing. So
because you've had 2 cycles now of the vineyard.
yeah, we've had 2 cycles of the vineyard. We have 14 acres under vine. All of our vines are own rooted as opposed to grafted, which is also like a very novel concept. And we also had a giant drought and then a really rainy season followed by a drought.
Right.
Right. We've had the worst growing conditions ever.
No, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah. So next year we're going to replant and take all this knowledge and all this infrastructure we built and getting better at the farming. We now know what equipment to use. We now know about timing. We now know about pruning, like the things that we didn't know and didn't know that we didn't know, we now know a little bit. And we know a little bit enough to get better at doing that. So next year is just about getting better. Again, like, could have picked an easier journey with my life.
Right.
But again, then I go out and I don't know how much most people know, but most of what is in the grocery store is actually harmful. And I really believe that. So whenever it comes down to how hard whatever I'm doing is, there isn't actually any other option anymore because this is bullshit. And I'm tired of people in power giving me food for my family that is going to harm them. And I've had enough. And I've had so much of enough that I was like, I'm going to even start a store where I offer people things that aren't going to harm them. So Patti's Place is a food forest, and it's a garden, and it's a market garden, and it came about because when I thought about all of this other stuff that would be in the vineyard, and sheep and chickens, and we're doing a permaculture design, so we have raspberry brambles and cider trees, and it's all just like so stinking complicated.
Right.
But I was like, we're gonna have all this other stuff to sell. And then we found the Mount William Schoolhouse on our property. I was like, that should be a farm market and a community center. So one of the things we do at Patti's Place is we have a learning and community day every other week.
I love that.
Yeah, so every other Sunday, I sit in a room and I teach myself some stuff, and everyone who wants to come and join me, it's free. Let's learn some shit together, right? I YouTube how to make jam. I made jam for the first time last week.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
It was great.
A jam maker. Oh my God, I love it.
It's delicious.
I love it. Yeah.
I love my jam.
And you pick the raspberries, because you said you had raspberry brambles, so you
Yeah.
pick them and make the jam or whatever you got
Yes.
on the farm. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at one point we had just a class about how your immune functions, because
Aw, I love that.
yeah, because most people don't understand.
Right.
You hear leaky gut. What does that leaky
What does it
gut actually
mean?
right?
Well, yeah, and I think, but I also like the idea of being able to come, gather, and learn about these things together,
Yeah.
and not just on your computer or on your phone by yourself at home. Which I do all the time. But also, I like the idea of coming and have a question. You can ask questions and hear about it from real people.
Yeah. And when you come together in community, while you may be able to access the same information that you could find on the internet, people just start sharing their experiences, and the amount of the depth of learning gets so much greater. So we did a workshop on this immunity. It was an immunity series about what is your immune system, how do you improve your immune system through small habit changes, and then what plants and herbs can you use and ingest in order to boost your immune function. So in this 3-part workshop, people started sharing about their journey through diabetes and how they reversed it, and then diabetes sensors. So I wear a continuous glucose monitor, not because I'm diabetic, but because I want to see the impact of the food on my body. Because when your body is trying to regulate blood sugar, it stops doing its other functions. It's, again, what they talk about fasting. Why fast? It's so your body can stop putting energy into digestion and start working on other things like cleaning all of the protein buildup in your brain that leads to Alzheimer's, right? They give you little snippets, but they don't tell you why.
Right. Yeah,
So
no, that's hugely. It's so helpful when you understand why. It's
Yeah.
like a whole other ball game now.
Of course. Right. Why
Yeah.
should you get sleep? Because
Right.
when you sleep, your body actually sends blood to your brain and cleans it out, and then you're like a healthy. It's not so you're not cranky.
Right.
There's actually functions that happen while you're asleep.
It's not just about not being cranky, y'all.
Totally. So I don't know. There's so many things that I am passionate about in this space. And there's so much change I want to make and so much change I want to see, because in these successive generations of people who have gotten away from growing food, right? I believe this statistic is in 1950, 70% of people had a garden and grew food for their family. Now it's less than 1% have a garden that feed their family. We've lost that knowledge because so many people and so many generations have been separated from the growing that we don't know how to grow food. We don't know what it looks like on the vine or in the bush or in the ground. And I come from that. I don't know how to grow things. And I wanted my kids to know how to grow things. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who want their kids to know how to grow things. Or at least I hope there are.
Right. Please, right? Well, so I'm hearing also so your goal was I want to feed my family healthy food.
Yeah.
I want my kids to feel connected to the world and the ground and their food.
Yeah.
Have a different experience than being connected.
Yeah.
And then I'm also hearing, but now I also want to connect other people to resources and information about how they too can be more connected.
Yes.
And creating community around that. And that's what I'm saying, that this space, Patti's Place,
Yeah.
it just feels like I'm in a home.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in somebody's home, not home. But it's very communal the way you have it set up. It's just big open tables, family style seating or whatever, you mix and mash, whatever. There's no little mini pods. So, that's just amazing to me.
Yeah. The seating is all family style.
Yeah.
When we do events, we only do family style events. We have a craft night where we do family style dinner.
Craft night?
Yeah. The second Thursday of every month, we do a craft night. And it's just, everything always seems so inaccessible and complicated, right? I don't know how to knit and I don't know how to quilt. But there's a ton of people who do, and they come and they do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then I have some people that come and they just want to play cards and they want a night out for dinner. It's all too serious, right? Like sourdough.
Right.
Right. You got to feed the mother, and only serious bakers make sourdough, and it's got to be perfect.
Right.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to do it once the first time so you can get over that hump that it's so complicated. And if your sourdough mother dies, it's probably not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, it's just all not a big deal.
Right. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, it's just not a big deal.
Yeah.
No, I love this. Play, experiment.
Yeah.
Don't know how to do something, watch a YouTube or get together with someone who knows, can show you. Yeah, I think that's really incredible. I just love the spirit of that. So when did the Patti's Place building, was it already, this wasn't here like this?
It wasn't here like this, but it was the same footprint.
Okay, there was a structure here.
There was a structure here that I took that same excavator that
Oh my
I dug
gosh.
the holes with.
Yeah, once you knew how to turn it on, you're like, now that I have this information, watch out, people. I've got an excavator situation happening.
Totally. And it was so overgrown here that we couldn't actually access it. So we had to bushwhack our way with this excavator to the building, which I only knew was here because I saw it on a Google Earth Pro map.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I spent all my family's money on the farm, so
Right.
I was like, Dustin, we need to let's live in a yurt.
Right. We don't have any money left for an actual home.
Yeah. So literally, in looking for a place to find the yurt, put the yurt on the property, I saw the roof. I got in touch with Gary, and I was like, Gary, why is there a roof? Is that right? And he's like, oh, it's the old Mount William Schoolhouse. So I was like, let's go check it out.
Oh, this is the schoolhouse. I didn't get that part. Yeah. Okay, so this used to be, oh my God, okay, now I'm even more in love.
I know.
Because this was a schoolhouse.
Yes, this was a schoolhouse. This was the 2-room Mount William Schoolhouse. And even crazier is my architect's grandmother went to school here.
Whoa, mind blown situation.
I know. He's like, she used to walk here like 5 miles a day in the snow and like,
right.
Yeah, that kind of.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, because we're like 20, I mean, I live on the western edge of Winchester. Yeah. So for me, it literally is like a 22-minute drive.
Yeah.
Maybe 17 minutes if I'm doing Leadfoot Raider kind of maneuvers.
I appreciate that. It's a solid 20 minutes outside of downtown Winchester.
Yeah, we'll call it 20 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so you found this building. You're like, wait, it's the schoolhouse. It used to be the 2-room schoolhouse.
Yeah.
Holy bleeps! What's happening here? Excavate around it. Let's unearth it.
Yeah.
Basically, holy cow.
Yeah. So we found Patti's place here, and we tried to repair it. We tried to rehabilitate it, and the more we chipped away at the layers, the more it was not salvageable. So we saved as much as we could. All of the beams are from the old structure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The bead board around the side isn't from the original structure, but the original structure had that same bead board.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks exactly like it did when we found it, but without all the graffiti on the walls.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Without all that.
Yeah.
With all that.
There was like some couches where like children definitely, not children, but like.
There was some squatting happening here.
Totally. There was definitely some like teenage drinking.
Right.
Yeah,
they're like, there's trees are all around this thing. There's no excavator in sight. We will hang out there and drink.
I actually had a mother come in one day and was like, I don't know if I should tell you this, but my son's definitely drank a little bit in that when it was uninhabited. And I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I saw the telltale signs of all of that.
Totally.
Thank you.
Yes,
oh
they
God,
left their bottles.
Hilarious.
And,
That's hilarious. I love this. I love this.
So we kept chipping away at it and had to rebuild it, and that was fine. And then it was just slowly preparing to open it. I have found bamboo toilet paper that's not wrapped in plastic because I always think less plastic is better. And I love it. It's like I've gone through probably 10 different brands of bamboo toilet paper. Some of them actually feel like leaves on your butt, and they're not great.
You're like, nope, don't like this one.
Just like through trial and error and much of my husband's chagrin.
It's like, can we just not with the toilet paper?
No. I will say he is.
Wow, what a good sport.
He is very patient with me. He's tried all the shampoo bars, all the conditioner bars, everything without plastic. He is just in it to win it with me.
Aww.
And yeah, he's a great partner and a great spouse. I feel very lucky, and he is lucky.
Yes. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Thanks.
This is incredible. Wow.
Yeah. So, we have toilet paper, and I used to make my own bug spray for the kids. I used to make my own toothpaste for the kids. And then in making my own stuff, some of it is worth making, and some of it is a giant pain in the ass. Like, if you're a mom and you have young kids, to make toothpaste with the coconut oils. So, so then you find a brand that has all the same stuff that is made. I mean, one of the giant issues with toothpaste isn't just the toothpaste, but it's actually the tube that the toothpaste is in.
Right.
They are one of the biggest issues in landfills. Again, I've gone down too many rabbit holes to tell you about.
Right.
So I stopped making my own toothpaste, but David's Naturals toothpaste, it comes in an aluminum tube. It's excellent. The ingredients are excellent. I feel really good about using it in my home and selling it to the public.
Right.
Bug spray,
so before I leave here, I'm going to take some toilet paper with me.
You should.
And some toothpaste.
You should.
Because,
I know.
Yeah, because, I think, like, I do what I can. I'm not going to say I'm remotely anywhere in your vicinity of capacity and information for sure. And I'm like, okay, to your point, you can only, there's a, we still live in this insane world.
Totally.
So our capacities are what they are.
Yeah. And
so,
I go
yes.
out to dinner, I go to restaurants.
Right. So
I'm not
we do
like
it right.
interrogating the chef about where he got his ingredients. I still exist in the world.
Sure.
But I can control my home.
Right.
And
And I love that you're making it for people who can't do all the, don't have the time or space to do all the things themselves. Like,
totally.
well, here are some recommendations of some things you can purchase.
Yeah.
Instead. Yeah.
Totally. Patty's is just, it's our window to the world. Like the vineyard is not going to be open for at least another 5 years, but it doesn't mean I don't still have that desire to share with the community that there's better, that we can grow better food. There are better products that are being made and they're out there that are healthier for you and your kids. And while I don't think that they're expensive, I just know that they're also not cheap. I really encourage people to think about the long-term cost to their health.
Right.
Food-related illness in the next 10 years will cost the United States $4 trillion.
Wow.
In health-related illness. So diabetes, heart disease, obesity, like these are major issues, and it is because our food sucks. Like,
right.
It's not just that it's over chemicaled, it's also over processed. I mean, my poor children, all the time I do this thing where I'm like, they want something at the store, and I'm like, well, what plant did that grow off of? And they're like, Mom, you're so annoying. And I'm like, yeah, I bet I am.
Sorry.
Sorry, that lollipop didn't grow on any tree that I ever saw.
I've never seen a lollipop on a tree. That is just not happening.
But like, there's chocolate, and there's good sweets. There's good stuff that's bad for you.
Right.
Quote unquote bad for you, right?
Right.
But yeah, hard candy is just, especially when it's made with Red 40.
Like you're like,
why?
No, not doing it.
And countries like China and Russia are banning this shit, and we won't. I just
right.
Why are we so in bed with this money that we don't care about humans anymore? And I don't accept that.
Right.
Not only do I not accept that, I am actively offering you another option.
What I admire and what I also hear and I really appreciate is, you have information, and you could talk all day long about the things you know, and yet you're like, no, I'm going to show you. I'm not just going to tell you a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'll tell you whatever you want if you want to, fine. But I'm going to show. I'm actively doing the thing.
Yeah.
I'm actively farming this way. I'm actively building a space. I'm actively selling products. I'm actively getting people together to do things together, to connect. Like you're actually doing the things and showing this is what it can look like, basically.
Because all we need right now is another person yelling at us about the shit we're doing wrong, right? Like,
no,
there's enough of that. It's got to be positive. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy to be positive all the time.
Sure.
But it has to be. Otherwise, who wants it, right?
Patty needs a happy meal. We need to be happy at Patty's place.
Every meal is a happy meal at Patty's place.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, it's so true. Okay, she's right about that, y'all. Because when I was here, I had the chicken curry with rice.
Yeah.
But then there's this like salad that was like the freshest corn and tomatoes and cucumbers. And I was just like, what? It was the most happy meal.
Yeah.
It was the happiest of happy meals.
Yeah. And all of the tomatoes and cucumbers were in your salad were harvested that morning from our garden.
Whoa. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah. And anything that we are not currently growing, we've actually found a regenerative distribution network.
Oh.
Where they service farms also doing this work. and they feature farms from Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, and they give them a distribution channel that's exclusively for farms doing good work.
Right.
And, we don't grow corn right now.
Right.
But there are people growing corn in this cool way. So
oh my God, that's
we buy
amazing.
their corn. And
I love this. It's like a community within itself.
Yeah.
Amongst itself, with supporting each other.
Totally.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I feel like it's a bit scattered because it is a bit scattered. Like
Yeah.
it is a mammoth operation that we've decided to undertake. It feels completely overwhelming. And I'm a big fan of Jon Stewart and The Daily Show. There was one episode where he said, the cure to anxiety is action. And he lives that because he quit The Daily Show in order to advocate for 9/11 first responders.
Right.
And my anxiety about all of this overwhelming, toxic shit that's literally thrown at us was to do this farm. And the farm kind of maneuvers in a direction based on what I learn on every single day, but our end goal is the same. Mm-hmm. We are looking to move the iceberg of farming in a way that makes us healthier and ultimately, I think, much happier.
Right. Okay, so I want to just close on, if you could give one suggestion to person listening who's overwhelmed, oh my God, I don't have time. I have to go to the grocery store. I don't live anywhere near a regenerative farming situation or near the country. I live in Manhattan or wherever the hell I live. What would be one thing you could say, okay, you could start with this one thing that's simple?
Just don't eat in your car.
Okay, right.
And again, I'm a person who lives in the real world, and there's times when I'm like, shit, I'm late. I have so much to do. I have went from being a stay-at-home mom, and that was busy and crazy, to now I'm still a stay-at-home mom, but also have a farm and a store. This is actually the quietest moment that I have doing this podcast with you, because normally my kids are in the store running around. They're always with me. That was one of the appeals of farming, is that my kids could do it with me.
Right.
And then they go to school, and there's running to the bus stop, and all of these things that I'm doing have to fit in the paradigm of my family.
Right.
So yes, sometimes I grab a Kind bar, eat it in the car. That is the one thing that I do that I really wish I would stop doing. Eating in the car is the least mindful kind of eating you could do. I guess that mindful eating.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, whether it's conventional, organic, whatever.
Right.
Just put your phone away. I mean, that would be my first suggestion on making change. Just be present with the people you're eating with while you're eating.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it goes back to that community thing.
And change your toilet paper.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put all of the links obviously to Patti's place, to the farm.
Yeah.
And also, I'll get from you, here are my fave products that you can get wherever you may live. And you can get almost anything that I have on Amazon. Okay, perfect. Yeah. I cannot get the products that I want from anywhere else. So Right. Yeah. Okay, so we'll put all the resources up there, links to some things like that for people. Amazing. Yes, it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. It can be, how do I do all the things? Maybe I can do the one thing and be mindful when I eat and not on my phone when I'm eating, and take the action. Yeah. Again, I thought about the direction we were going in as a species and a planet, and I was so overwhelmed. I was in tears often at night with my husband, thinking about, why did I even have children? Why did I do this if I'm just going to give them a world that's shit? I have an extremely supportive family. My mom, as much as she wishes I never moved to Virginia, sure, understands why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I lose everything, I know I have a roof over my head. I can always go back home. And that comfort of knowing that gives me the freedom to lean in. And you didn't know what the hell you were doing.
I still don't know what the hell
You're like, I'm leaving Manhattan. I'm going to farm. And then I don't know how to farm. And I'm going to do it. But I'm just doing it.
I literally had no idea how to do anything.
Yeah.
I never... I grew some lettuce during COVID, but like I had no idea how to grow food.
Right.
But that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I am symptomatic of the problem. My kids didn't know how to grow stuff, but now they do.
Right.
They know about earthworms. They know about nematodes. They know about soil biology. We bought a microscope. We look at soil in a microscope.
I hear you taking your anxiety about it, your anger about it, your sadness about it,
Yeah.
and having watched someone you love like not do okay physically and be powerless over that, and you're taking the one action, doing the thing you can. Like, I can't change all of that, but I can do this. And I think that's really inspiring. Like, you're just doing the thing.
Yeah, not well every day.
Well, I mean, I don't.
But
yeah.
I aspire to eventually, I believe that one day it will all click. And when that happens, I really hope that I can convince other farmers, hey, I did all this stuff wrong. This is the stuff that you should not do, that I did. And this is what I did that made it work. Please do that now that you know it works. And let's just go on that, right? Like, one of the problems that I'm having is that nobody's done what I've done here. And all of the resources for farmers in Virginia, for wine farmers in Virginia, are made for people who are in the current paradigm. Mm. So who do you go to when you want advice on this? There's nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it sounds like, building, like, you're like, okay, well, I'll start building the community.
Yeah.
With my events here and educating people, and like, I'll start.
Yeah.
Like, let it begin with me, basically.
Totally.
Let it begin with me.
Yeah. We have to start somewhere.
Yeah. I just, like, let's just keep coming back. Like, it's like all about connectedness.
Yeah.
Like, letting it begin with me and connectedness.
Isn't that what we're all about from the beginning?
Yeah.
We are social creatures. It is one of the very special things about being human. And humans are amazing. And we have an amazing power to do good and an amazing power to destroy. And we just need to choose to do good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Like, for me, it started with a little change. Like, I just started composting.
Right.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Jaclyn. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I can't tell you how much I'm grateful for the space to share my story.
Oh, I love this.
Thanks.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay. Bye. Thank you again for listening to The Stories That Sparkle, a space I created for women to share in their own voices the intricacies of their stories. And another big thank you to Jaclyn for taking all this time to sit down with me and chat with me about all things regenerative farming. It's just so exciting to me, like, what she's doing and what she's building and how she's building it. So I encourage you, if you're in the Shenandoah Valley area, if you're near Winchester, Virginia, go check out Patti's place. You will not be disappointed. The food is amazing. Everything about it is amazing, but the food is freaking amazing. So all the links to all things Patti's place will be in the show notes, including recommendations of products you can check out. Okay, if you're enjoying The Stories That Sparkle, I have one small request. Please pass it on. Please send it to 2 friends, encourage them to listen, encourage them to pass it on to 2 more friends, and so on and so forth. It would really help me out, really help get the word out, get these women's stories out. So really appreciate any support you can give. You can also visit me on Substack, hellarader.substack.com, and become a subscriber there if you want. You can follow me on Instagram, but most importantly, pass the podcast on and get these women's stories out there. Woohoo! And even more importantly, if you have a story you want to share or a topic you would like me to cover in an episode of the podcast, please drop me a line, hellarader@substack.com, because together we bring light into dark places.